What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. We're going to be talking about Percy Jackson, Season 2, Episode 7. And if you have not checked out the YouTube feed yet, if you have not checked out Agents of Fandom wherever you get your podcasts, it's a good time to do so because you will find out that we have our brand new interviews with Clarisse and Tyson themselves, Dior Goodjohn and Daniel Deemer. I just got back from Toronto late last night, and that is now streaming wherever you get your pods. We had a great conversation with the two of them. We talked about how the fandom has just been embracing them this season with the incredible job they've been doing. We talked about, what else did we talk about? I got the ADHD just got the best of me there. We talked about the differences between the book and the series and how both of their characters get a little bit more fleshed out since this is not just from Percy's perspective, but from a total view at them. And we actually have a part 2 of the interview still coming that I have not dropped yet because it had some spoilers in it. And so we're holding that off until after the finale. But I'll give you a tease. We talked about who would win in a fight between Clarisse and Tyson because these are two of the most prolific battlers that we've seen so far in this universe. So we talked about who would win in a fight between the two of them. We got a great show ahead of us today. Joining me, as always, for the Percy Jackson shows. First up, I got my guy, Brandon Moore. How you doing, Brandon? Oh, you are muted. Ha! Tough start for me. Tough start for Brandon, too. And he's been having some, I don't know if it's internet or what, but just before the show, too, he was popping in and out. And so he's got blipped once again, but we'll get Brandon back in here shortly. We got Jam joining us as well as he has for all of these Percy Jackson shows. How you doing, Jam?
I'm doing well. Right when you went to go grab some water off pod, I was telling Brandon and Ryan, I rushed to get onto this pod. I went grocery shopping and then I got a haircut. And I got home at 6:40 Eastern time. So I had to hop in the shower and take the fastest shower of my life to get ready to be here to talk Percy Jackson. I what's the word? I embraced my Percy Jackson in the water. I was controlling the water. I was water bending like Katara. I was in there, man. So yeah, I'm glad to be here.
The cut looks good. The lineup's looking sharp. The beard as well is looking all the way up. I see you looking real nice. Joining us as well, speaking of some good looking facial hair, I am so happy to be hanging out with him once again. I haven't seen him face to face in a while, but if you've been following the Agents Fandom YouTube page, you saw his Avatar, Fire and Ash interviews pop in here on our feed with Stephen Lang and James Cameron. It's my fellow Agents of Fandom co-owner and best buddy, Ryan Cortero. Welcome back, man. Nice to see you.
Woo! I am back. I'm so happy to be back. It is been a while since I've been on here. I think the last time was for Love Island, right before the finale. So yeah, no, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Happy to have you on. Ryan is a married man now. Big things going on in his life. We're happy to have him hanging out with us. Before we talk about Percy Jackson, I do want to talk to both of you about what you're watching. And a quick reminder first, everybody, if you're watching us live on YouTube or after the fact, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, help us grow this community, help us battle that YouTube algorithm. They're always trying to bring us down, help bring us back up. You can follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. In addition to our fun Percy Jackson interviews we just dropped, we do still have a part 2 coming. And we're also going to have some Wonder Man interviews coming up here in the near future. I'll be talking to Andrew Guest, executive producer and head writer of Wonder Man. So stay tuned for that one. We will also be breaking down those 8 episodes here on the podcast. Ryan, I want to throw it to you first, my friend. What you been watching?
Oh, I always love joining the podcast for this question. It's always fun. The first thing that comes to mind right now, I'm caught up with this season of Abbott Elementary. So good. Always great. I love the new status quo they're kind of doing for this season. So that's fun. I have also, ever since the Doomsday teasers have dropped, my wife has gotten back into the Marvel fandom. And so she's doing a rewatch, first watch of a lot of things. And the most recent project we saw together was Agatha All Along. And watching her watch that and the events leading up to the Billy reveal and even more past Billy reveal, like the Witches Road and all that, was really fun to rewatch and see her reaction to that. And I know it's going to be a while till we see Billy and that story probably continue, but it just reminded me of like all the other things that's going on in this saga. And so I'm excited to kind of with Wonder Man coming out soon, like I'm excited to get back into more Marvel stuff. Like I think it was Zombies was like the last thing that came out from them, and even then it's like not really in this sacred timeline stuff. So I'm excited. We got Wonder Man, we got Daredevil coming back. Like it's gonna be a good time to be a Marvel fan again.
We talked a little bit of Daredevil in our most recent pod where we drafted our most anticipated projects of 2026. So go out and check that out. You can find that on YouTube, wherever you get your pods. I'm very, very excited for Daredevil. I watched a little kind of not overly well-known movie, but a really strong one. And Ryan, I actually think you would really like this movie if you haven't seen it before, but this is part of my thing that I do. I'm on a football podcast called the Pick Six Podcast. And at the end of every week, we have our little fantasy competition. Whoever wins assigns a movie for us all to watch at the end of it. And this movie was called The Ballad of Wallace Island. Came out in 2025 and took me a while to get into it. But then it had some really funny one-liners, and it's just a really emotional, heartfelt story that was really, really good. It was really, really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. British film, takes place on a fake island off the coast of Wales, but very interesting little flick. And the other big thing is I have finished Cyberpunk 2077. I have gone through that game. Couple glitches where it froze on me a few times. I don't like that it's a first person view, but other than that, in an absolutely incredible game. Give it like a 8.5 out of 10. Great story, great gameplay. If you don't want to hear any spoilers for Cyberpunk 2077, hit us with a little quick mute, plug your ears. But I will say there's tons of possible endings, so I'm not really spoiling anything. I'm just saying which one specifically I landed on. And that's with my guy Johnny, Keanu Reeves. We're still in V's body. We are still in V's body, and we're moving on with our life. I will say that is where I concluded this one. But I had a lot of fun. Shout out to our friends at the Controller Club, Lauren Rouse and Kleinfeld, convincing me to play that one. I'm going to do, I think, Assassin's Creed Odyssey next. I might take a little break from gaming and get back on my movies grind and just like start watching some movies again. But I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is going to be the next one that I dive into. Jam, how about you? What you've been watching, playing, reading, etc.?
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that you finished that because I know you've been going through it with that. You've been playing it for a long time, so that makes me happy for you. I told you the other day I've been taking a little bit of a break from gaming. I think I played a little bit of Arc Raiders trying to finish an event that was out. I played a little bit of Pokemon Legends Z through A because I'm really invested in that. But again, I've been taking a little bit of a break from gaming. But I finally finished Avatar: The Legacy of Yang Chen. I've been reading this for it's been on hold, I should say, for like a year since it came out. It was 2024. So almost 2 years now, or whenever it dropped, I guess in 2024. But so I finally got to finish that. As far as what I've been watching, though, I actually am super hyped to talk about this because I watched The Mighty Nine on Amazon Prime. So after Stranger Things, me and my niece have been just, conversing about getting into some D&D, and I have already watched The Legend of Vox Machina thanks to a friend's recommendation, and I loved it. So this was getting me a little bit more into the Critical Role D&D era, and I honestly thought it was the best out of all of it. Maybe season 2 of Legend of Vox Machina, but so far I'm really, really invested in this Mighty Nine series. It ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm a little sad about that, but we already are greenlit for season 2. They actually animated or created season 1 and season 2 back to back. But lastly, gearing up.
Before we move on from that one, have you played Dispatch yet?
No, I've been told multiple times to play.
That's priority 1 when you turn your PS5 back on. That's priority 1. help brought to life by Critical Role. My game of the year. You got to play Dispatch.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna add it on the list. I'm gonna add it on my list for sure.
Ryan, have you played it? I think I recommended it to you too.
No, I haven't, but I've heard like so many good things about it, and I love it's like a choose your own
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's way more story focused than it is gameplay focused, but it is choose your own path, and there's multiple different endings, different romantic arcs based on what you choose, and the gameplay itself is very much like you're essentially it's a universe very similar to like Invincible or The Boys, but you are essentially the Iron Man of your universe, but you didn't create the arc reactor. Your dad did, or somebody else did. And so when the arc reactor gets broken, you're kind of shit out of luck, and you're trying to get it put back together. You're working with some people. You got to build friendships and forge bonds to get it put back together so you can go out and be a hero again. But in the meantime, you're working dispatching other heroes. And so there are problems all throughout the city, and you have to send heroes to those problems based on their skill sets, and how you do with that impacts the game, impacts the story, things like that. So it is so much fun. I can't recommend that game enough.
Between that and Baldur's Gate 3 is what I keep hearing people telling me. Like, if you want to get more invested in D&D, this is the way to go about it.
Baldur's Gate 3, and I just got so overwhelmed by the screen immediately, and I turned it off.
Okay. But the last thing I wanted to mention on my What You Watching is I'm gearing up for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. So I've never seen any of the 28 dash movies, like any 28 whatever later. So last night I just watched 28 Days Later, and I really enjoyed it. I said it on my Letterboxd review. I knew going in, as soon as I seen how old it looked for a 2002 movie, I said I'm in for a journey here. And it was really good. I actually had a nightmare last night because of the movie. So I think it did its job with the horror aspect. So that's what I'm gearing up for after the pod today, and we get some dinner. I'm going to watch 28 Weeks Later, and then tomorrow, the first 28 Years Later, and then I'll be seeing that new one on Sunday.
I got some fun stuff still on my list. I got to catch up on Fallout, which I have not. I've only seen the first episode so far, and so I'm going to binge the rest of that. And then I'm going to rewatch my screeners for Wonder Man so that I can write my review. Up over at it'll be up on agentsfandom.com on the 22nd, I believe, is when embargo lifts. And then I got to watch my Shrinking screeners as well, so I can start writing up some reviews for that one. First 2 seasons of that have been one of my favorite shows of the last probably like decade. So looking forward to diving back into that one. Ryan, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. We haven't really talked at all about your thoughts on season 2 yet, even in text. So I'm very curious. What have you thought on kind of spoiler-free Percy Jackson season 2 so far?
Oh man, like when the first season ended, it reminded me of like what I felt when like the first Harry Potter came out, and I was like, wow, there's like just magic with these kids. And I'm so lucky to like watch this journey from beginning to end and grow up with them. So going into season 2, like, I mean, first off, like Walker growing like, I don't know, 2 feet since season 1 is like crazy to me. His voice getting deeper. Like, I was like, wow, this is just like that jump from Harry Potter 1 and 2. And so, but it also allows the story to be more mature because we're growing up with these kids. And so I've liked like, you know, seeing these kids become better actors, and they were already good in season 1, but like just showcasing their range more in season 2 was really great. And I was shocked when you guys also learned about like the budget not increasing, which is crazy to me because like it really feels like the scope and scale of the show just grew in the second season. But I mean, kudos to like the team who like made this all possible, because the CGI, the sets and everything like look so good this season. And so I'm so excited for season 3 and onwards. Like I hope they get a bigger budget just so they can like really play around with some of this. But if not, like, I mean, they clearly have the means to work with what they have. And so I like where the story's going. I love how we're fleshing out like Clarisse, especially Luke, even. It shows that these are very complex characters, and so I'm very interested to see like us get into more depth with some of these characters. Like I feel like even an original character like Allison will be more fleshed out like down the line, because right now she seems like a little two dimensional. Like she's just working for Kronos, and that's kind of all it is. But I feel like they're so intentional with making these characters so complex and like exploring why they are the way they are. And so I'm excited for that kind of journey. And like, what is it? Trying to understand, like, I want the show to almost kind of give me a reason why Kronos is right a little bit. Like, and I'm kind of seeing that a little bit, but like I know, the gods and all that, but I'm interested to see kind of that turn as we get like throughout the series and stuff like that. But overall, season 2 really great. I'm so excited for like the finale next week.
Jam, how about you? We've obviously been talking about every episode so far, but one left to go. Do you think they're going to stick the landing here for season 2? What have been your thoughts as a whole? And just like, what do you think is going to, I mean, oh no, we're not going to go to what do you think is going to happen yet, but I love speculating before a finale.
You know me, man. I've been enjoying he's back. Let's go. It's great that he's actually just came back, because I was about to mention him. Me and Brendan were just talking, and Ryan were just talking about it right again when you were grabbing water off pod. But the thing with this, the way that they set up this season 2 versus what happens in the book, it's kind of we know what's gonna happen, we don't know how it's gonna happen. So I'm very excited to see that come to fruition. But overall, man, I mean, I guess we could talk spoilers, right, about the overall season, because we're on episode 7, and I've loved it. Like, especially everything Ryan said with fleshing out these characters like Clarisse. She's growing on me so much, like, and I didn't think she would. Like, you guys know Tyson's my favorite character. I think Percy and Annabeth are what they are. They're just phenomenal, and Walker and Leia in these roles are phenomenal. But man, Tyson is, as much as he's my favorite in the book, he's still my favorite in the show. So just to see, like, in your interview, these characters a little bit fleshed out more in not of a one-dimensional perspective of Percy, but an overall perspective as a viewer, I get to be a little bit more appreciative of this character, because it's a little bit more heartwarming for me than just reading him through the eyes of Percy Jackson. So overall, I mean, I'm really loving it. Same thing Ryan said. The visuals just feel great. You got one qualm, which I'll bring up a little bit later about this episode, but I'm invested, man, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And I no speculation yet, because you said we'll save that, but I do think some wildness is going to happen. And Ryan mentioned it a little bit earlier as well, I think off pod, but the shorter episode makes me feel like this next episode is going to be a banger, like absolute banger.
Brandon, welcome back. One episode to go left in this season. What were your spoiler-free thoughts on episode 7, and how are you feeling going into the finale? Oh, came in with the mute again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now welcome back.
Yes. I'm a boomer, but whatever. But yeah, no, I'm very happy with what we've gotten so far. I'm excited about what they're setting up. It is different from what we've got in the book, and I'm, as Jam was sort of alluding to a few minutes ago, we know what's gonna happen based on what happens in the book. It's more about how are they going to do this, and when is that particular thing going to happen? Is it going to happen at the end, like in the book and even in the movie, or is it going to happen a little bit earlier and sort of, change some interesting dynamics? So I'm very happy though. This episode was not my favorite of the season. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But yeah, overall, I'm really, I think what they did here is still stronger than what's in the book. So I will give it that.
let's start diving into this episode itself. Full spoilers for Percy Jackson Season 2, Episode 7. We begin with Percy going to rescue Annabeth, get our sweet little Percabeth moment early on. You're my priority. The fleece was hers. Talking about Clarisse when Annabeth asks where she is, why he isn't going to get the fleece. But it's also like, I love this dynamic because like Percy's Percyness is coming out. Like, I don't give a damn about the fleece, Annabeth. I'm here to save you. But I love that he doesn't, no matter how much he is going to prioritize her, and not just her, but his friends over the fate of the world, the fate of Olympus, the fate of whatever it is. He's always going to prioritize his friends, and that's his fatal flaw and his strongest quality, right? But I do love that he doesn't treat Annabeth as any type of, damsel in distress. Like, he knows full well she is smarter than him. She is better at strategizing than him. And when it comes to a plan, she is the one he's got to trust. And so when we get this Luke moment of the beginning with Percy hiding invisible, and she's saying like, "Code," I don't remember the exact line, but she's like talking to Luke, but yelling very loud, like, "Percy, get your ass out of here." Essentially, go get this fleece while I'm distracting him. And I love that he's just like, "All right, fine, I'm listening. I'm going to get the fleece. I was here to save you, but if you think I should prioritize the fleece, I guess I'll prioritize the fleece." Ryan, what were your thoughts on the intro to this one with our sweet little Percabeth moment, followed by, I kind of feel like as soon as that happened, this episode was just go, go, go the whole time.
Yeah, no, it definitely was go, go, go. And that's one of my qualms with this episode is that it all happens so fast that and this short runtime, like once it ends, it's like, oh, we're done. I will say though, like going like to the very beginning of this episode, like I love the transition when Thalia's facing off against the Furies, and then it flashes to the tree exactly where she stood. And Chiron has that whole speech of her sacrifice and everything. Again, that's one of the things like with this show that I'm like, man, they're really good at bringing the show or bringing this book to life. And so, and now with the Percabeth moment, I love them. I love them so much. Like, I mean, one of my favorite lines, and that's a few episodes back, is when Percy's like, "I burn it all down," and like I'm just like, damn, Percy.
That was my favorite.
Go.
Too.
Yeah, like I'll root for that. But yeah, no, I just love like he does prioritize his friends, and like especially Annabeth. And just funny that like, yeah, when she tells him, yeah, no, you should probably get the fleece, she's like, yeah, okay, got it, I will. So that was fun. And it was kind of, I love the dynamic of like Clarisse and Percy both arguing on like what they should do first, and then they ended up switching either way. And it's honestly kind of funny how like that worked out. And again, it expands on Clarisse's character a little bit, and also shows like we get a big reveal with like what Percy does when he gets the fleece and talks to Kronos, which from my recollection doesn't happen this early in the book with the whole prophecy and everything like that. But I mean, we can get into that later on. But yeah, no,
it was so interesting listening to people speculate about that on Twitter, because I haven't read that far ahead into the book series, right? I don't know what happens in the fifth book. So people are sitting there being like, "Percy, why'd you take the fleece? If you would have just listened 5-10 seconds longer, you would have found out so much." And I'm like, what would he have found out? I don't know. This is fascinating. And so that part was interesting to me as somebody who hasn't read further ahead in the book. I have no idea what he could have found out.
Yeah, no, same. And I was like, oh wow, he's like, Kronos is like saying this whole thing, and I'm like, and it's so interesting because we even learned in this episode, like prophecies obviously can be interpreted certain ways, and especially with Clarisse's about friends without friends, like, and how she does her quest. Like, if we heard that full thing with Kronos's prophecy, like we get even non-book readers like really speculating, trying to break it down. And I think that's a reason why they cut off the prophecy when they did, so there's not that kind of interpretation, at least for non-book readers.
I would love to it would be fun to have someone with, other than me, with like, I have some book knowledge going forward, but I'd love to have a conversation with somebody on the podcast, with somebody, oh damn, we lost Brandon again, with somebody who has no book experience whatsoever and is coming to this show cold, and just kind of having the conversation of, who do you think the prophecy is really about? Is this about Thalia? Is this about Percy? What do you think happens? But Jam, I obviously can't ask you that because you know. But what did you think of how this episode started? And talk to us about like Percy and Annabeth, but feel free to lead right into the Clarisse of it all, where she's fully just becoming part of the squad now, and I love it.
Yeah, so to even go further back into the beginning of the episode, I actually loved when Clarisse had to I don't know what the son what the demigod he was the son of, but when he was charming, was he Aphrodite maybe? The
That
son
was
of
Aphrodite,
Aphrodite? When he
yeah.
was charming or trying to charm them, I thought that was beautiful. Like he was acting. It was fun. So I thought that was really cool. But overall, I mean, we talked about it. I mean, I feel like every episode, Percabeth just keeps getting better and better with certain lines that they do, with certain things. I mean, just the way that they look at each other. It's like a friendship that yearns. You know what I mean? It's so different. Like, because you again, as we spoke before, I think it was episode 5, when we had our friends from the Seaweed Brain podcast on. But you can't have a relationship without that friendship, right? Like and they're building that foundation, that best friendship. So to me, like that's the biggest thing that I just keep seeing. Like these are kids, they're not in that mindset of romance yet. They're trying to save the world, but overall, it's like you can see that love is there through friendship and more. Um as far as Clarisse becoming part of the squad, if I remember correctly, I don't think, and we can ask Brandon when he gets back, but I don't think that this happens this soon. I think the way this episode ends with her understanding her prophecy does, but I don't think her really becoming a part of the squad per se as she does in this episode really happens this soon. So I really like that a lot because it just humanizes Clarisse more opposed to seeing her as this demigod of, daughter of the god of war, this antagonist or rival to Percy. So I really like her becoming like almost, I don't want to say friend, but a friend almost, right? Like you can't do this without friends or you can't do this without friends. Like I love it. So I'm with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what I will say though is actually one more thing to go back into the beginning of the episode. That was one of my hurts. One of my qualms was I wanted to see more of the of Rainbow and the hippocampi, a little bit of a better close up shot because I feel like we didn't really get that in last episode. It was more so of a far away kind of panned shot where we seen all 4. So I would have loved to see them. I don't think in the books they ride them either. Like you don't hear them riding. I think it's like also a cut in between from them going to the boat. But I would have liked to see that a little bit more up close. So that was like one of my biggest qualms. But to bring it back full circle with how I do love what Clarisse and what Percy did was we got to meet Blackjack, right? And what I
I was
love
gonna say I'll take my loss of the hippocampi if I get to hang out with Blackjack more. I
and
love Pegasus. Hercules was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. The animated Hercules was the very first movie I ever saw in theaters, and so I love a Pegasus.
Yeah, I love that that Percy was trustworthy with Clarisse towards him too. They're all both her and Annabeth are like, yo, what? Like, and he's like, no, relax. He's a friend, and he's willing to take you like to where we need you to go. So I thought that was like such a beautiful moment. So I really think they're humanizing Clarisse in a way that the books don't overall.
I think a lot of that is writing too, but I also don't think this change with Clarisse would have been possible without Dior Goodjohn. Like, and I'm not just trying to, say that to, I got to meet her and she was really nice, so now she's my favorite. Like, the very first episode we broke down this season, I was like, there's some really great acting in this show. I think the weakest character is Clarisse. Like, it just feels so surface level. And then I realized as we go on, but that's because our first shot of Clarisse was just Percy's perspective. It was Percy going, I don't like this girl. I just had to fight her dad. I don't like this girl. And the more we get to know her, the more she opens up. And the more I realize that, like, one, Dior is performing with such charisma with this character and making her so damn likable the more we get to know her. And that it was very clear that it was a conscious choice that the first time we meet her, it is surface. It is cold. she hasn't learned to open up yet. She is just her father's daughter and wants to impress him, and that's all that matters to her, winning and impressing him. And now she's opening up all these feelings within herself, and as she discovers them, we discover them too. And it's such an incredible performance that I'm mad at myself I didn't see at the beginning, but I, again, just have to shout out her performance because it's been so incredible. Ryan, any other thoughts on the Clarisse of it all? And then feel free to lead us into our guy Blackjack that we get here. And Percy's finally getting our nod that he, you know, has a way with horses as a son of Poseidon.
Yeah, no. I mean, no, I was similar to you with how I felt about Clarisse. I think it was episode 4, basically the episode where we see her kind of commanding the her ship, and like how she, you know, encourages her crew to kind of, or motivates her crew to take charge and like promise them something that she can't give them, and like her struggle with that, and like her kind of making the sacrifice play, like, no, I'm gonna try to protect my crew and everything like that. I was like, wow, I understand Clarisse now fully, and I love that moment, and that completely changed how I felt towards her. And I love that the show is giving more and more moments to kind of highlight that, and she's not even shy to show that even in front of Percy and Annabeth. And so, I mean, from here on out, I've only read the first 2 books, so I don't know anything else about Clarisse's journey from here on out. But
who's the prophecy about, Ryan? I didn't realize that. Who's the prophecy about? Is it about Percy or Thalia?
Man, Think on it and save it. Yeah,
save that for the end of the show.
Got it. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I hope whether Clarisse is part of the rest of the story, like book-wise or not, I hope that Dior's performance is enough to be like, you know what, yeah, let's put more Clarisse, let's give her a focus in this, and make it, you know, obviously make sense for the story. But I think like Dior is honestly really great in this, and it's crazy to think like how far her character has grown from season 1 and 2. In terms of Blackjack, it's just funny that he's just kind of hiding in a tent on the deck, like he's just here, and Percy just kind of stumbles on him. I've seen people say like, I kind of wish he had a voice actor, and I'm curious too, like who would even voice it. I saw some people theorize like Walton Goggins, which would be so good. Like, I mean, he's in everything, and why not put him in, you know, Percy Jackson? That would be great. But
Jack,
no, I'm excited. Black. Oh, okay. You know what?
I didn't even. That was probably subconscious, but that actually was even what I was going for.
I want him to have like a super deep voice, like Idris Elba.
Ooh,
I like that. I like that.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Who knows? Maybe season 3, they're like, you know what? Now you can hear him. Now we can all hear him.
Ryan's guy, Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, my God. Yes. Oh my God. Anything to like keep him in the Disney family. But no, yeah, it was so cool to see like they have Blackjack here now. And it was honestly really cool because in the book, Clarisse just gets on a plane to go back to Camp Half-Blood, but like Percy entrusting Blackjack to her, and her kind of having that moment to ride a Pegasus back to camp is going to be pretty cool. I don't know if I actually see like her, you know, coming back to Camp Half-Blood on Blackjack. Because like it's funny to think like the Camp Half-Blood people are gonna be like, oh my God, it's Luke's horse or Pegasus, and then it's Clarisse coming down and having that moment. It'd be good to kind of give Clarisse that moment, but I don't know if they actually do it. But you know, I'm excited that Blackjack's here, and from what I heard, like he's gonna be a pivotal part moving forward with this. So I'm excited, and I hope nothing bad ever happens to Blackjack. Blackjack deserves to be safe throughout this entire story. I don't want like a Hedwig moment in like the Harry Potter stuff. Like I could not bear for that, and you know, keep Blackjack safe, please.
Jam, I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of what you are thinking about Luke in this episode, because I feel like we get some of these last 2 episodes, some of our like darkest, man, fuck you, Luke moments. But then here we also really get, he's really humanized, and you feel bad for him because when it boils down to it, he's a kid being manipulated by the most powerful being in the history of existence. And you get to see that manipulation in full force here, where it's not just being sweet talked, it's being tortured when he's not living up to what he's supposed to with Kronos. So what were your thoughts on Luke's experience this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was really balanced for me. Because you, like you said, they're humanizing him. You feel for him, but you also got that dark side that you just really want to, snuff him. Like, and it sucks because I wish Percy would snuff him, which he did a couple times in this episode. Which I want a little backtrack a little bit before I finish with my Luke thought. I do want to say I think the action sequences with Clarisse, Annabeth, Percy, and Luke was the best this series has had so far. And the one thing I wanted to highlight about Clarisse is that 5-on-1 battle, man. Technically, it was a 5.5-on-1 because Annabeth was there, but she was kind of like still hurting. But man, Clarisse really got to show out this episode. And like you said, Dear Good John is just killing it. But the manipulation part with Luke is really like I feel like they're doing such a good job at showcasing that for a young audience, right? Like the fact that you're seeing the manipulation, you're seeing like the torture, like you said, and it's not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, and I think that they're diving very deep into that. Um, and it almost looks like, and a part of me, like I said, you want to be Percy and you want Percy to snuff him, right? But a part of me is like, man, I feel really bad for Luke, especially like when he's going through the torture aspect. Like you can see Luke doesn't really align all the way with Kronos. It's more so he believes in the overarching idea, the overarching concept of what Kronos can do or what he's promising them, but he's really not liking the methods that Kronos is trying to take. Kill Annabeth, kill all of the kids at camp. Every step of the way, it feels like Luke is trying to stop Kronos from doing those things, but still give Kronos what he wants. And in the books, that wasn't really the case. It was more, again, that's because you're seeing it from Percy's perspective. But here you're like, wow, Luke is he's wrong at the end of the day, but he's not okay with bad methods either. And so I really find that this manipulation and this torture, it almost feels like gaslighting in a sense, telling you what you want to hear, even though you're not getting what you want. It's very interesting that they're really diving into this psychos with a young audience, that like the teenage audience.
When you really boil it down to like the most simplified version of what it is, it's the story of a school bully, right? He's got his little posse that he brings around and says like, hey, you listen to me, I'm in charge, you do what I say. And then you see him go home and he's got an abusive parent, and that abusive parent picks on him and hits him and is emotionally and physically abusing him at home. And so he goes back to school, the only place he feels powerful, and is a bully and takes it out on other people, because at home he gets that done to him, and at school he's got the power above these others.
And you also see it with him in his actual like father, which is Hermes. He has abandonment issues, which is why he's not trying to abandon Clarisse, which is why he's not trying to abandon the kids at camp, even if he's trying to follow Kronos, because he's been abandoned or he feels like he's been abandoned. So he doesn't want to he doesn't want to put any of his friends, or to him, Annabeth is like a sister. He doesn't want to put his family through that, no matter what Kronos is telling him. So yes, it's a really big bully dynamic, and I think they're doing it beautifully.
Ryan, what are your thoughts?
And I love Charlie Bushnell as Luke. I think this episode, especially, like getting to see his struggle, and it's like almost physically exhausting for him as well. Like it's, at the end of, like, we've seen all the flashbacks with him and Annabeth and Dahlia, and it took me a while to kind of buy into the friendship between Luke and Annabeth, but I think kind of what we've seen throughout this season, like the flashbacks and everything, like I kind of really buy into like this kind of big brother mentor figure to Annabeth, and how at the end of the day he just really wants to protect her. Like, last episode we see him kind of make the choice to heal Annabeth and like give her the fleece, and prioritize that over giving it to Kronos. And obviously that causes a rift between him and the rest of Kronos's goons and stuff like that. And so this struggle, like, just at the end of this episode, like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm gonna listen to the guy who's like in control, and you know what, like, if that means kind of having to kill Percy, like, that's what I'm gonna do. And like, for me, it also feels like Percy's also hindering his friendship with Annabeth, and like, because Percy's in the way, it's like, if I get rid of Percy, like, some kind of twisted mind of it, like, it's like I get to continue my friendship with Annabeth that way once Percy's out of the way. And so, I'm so interested to see, like, kind of where we leave off with Luke, and what the rest of the show is going to be, because, like, I don't want it to be like this. I don't know what else to compare it to, but like the CW effect of like the villain just keeps getting away and away. And like, as much as Luke is that villain, like, I just don't want that to be the case of like, oh, we stopped, we defeated him, but then he gets away. It's like, no, I don't know. Like, I want them to do more.
He's got to die, or he needs a redemption arc.
Yes. And I don't think he's supposed to die anytime soon. At least I don't know. But yeah, and I want to see more. I want to see more with Luke. I want to see more of Luke from his perspective. Like, obviously, like, getting to see him outside of Percy's perspective. Like, and I want to see that kind of struggle more. Like, I guess like a Zuko, like we were talking about off pod, like a Zuko redemption arc for Luke, and I'm so excited for that. I always love seeing the bad boy turn good and get on like that anti-hero arc, and so I'm very excited.
Bless you.
But yeah, no, like, again, Charlie Bushnell, so great as Luke, and he's doing a very great job.
Couldn't agree more. You brought up the CW, and it just made me start thinking about those later seasons of The Flash, where the thing that bothered me the most with the villains is they'd spend the entire season going like, this villain is unstoppable. You think you can beat him this way? No, he already thought of that. You think you could beat him this way? No, he made you think you could do that. And he's been manipulating you the whole time. Now there's only a couple episodes left in the season. How do we beat him? What if we just really believe? What if we just really believe that we can beat him? And like, I'm the Flash, I'll run fast. You're Team Flash. Let's just really believe and do our stuff. And we're going to beat this villain. And that's literally all it was. They'd write themselves into a corner, but instead of writing themselves out of a corner, they'd be like, but the power of friendship. That's how we're going to do it.
We are Team Flash.
We are Team Flash.
We are the Flash. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Never forgive them for how bad they sidestepped, like put Wally to the side. Anyways, Ryan, any other final thoughts, theories on this episode pre, who's the prophecy about stuff? I think the other part I wanted to mention is we have a Sally Jackson sighting in this episode. One of my favorite characters in this series. I love the Sally, Percy, Tyson stuff. She calls Tyson her son in this episode. Shout out to Sally Jackson. She's the best. She's the reason Percy rocks. Any other final thoughts from this episode, Ryan, that we haven't covered?
Oh yeah, no, I love seeing Sally come back. Like, again, similar to a lot of other characters, like Sally's not really a big part, like, after the first book. So I'm glad that because Virginia Null's so good at what she does, like, they brought her back. And I love that moment where she's like, she tells Grover, like, I raised a demigod for 13 years. I write and a Cyclops for 1. It's like, yeah, no, I know something's up and I'm going to come. She drops everything and she comes, and like, it's just funny to see Percy Jackson like, oh, you're mom, you're here. Like, what?
The store clerk
like,
was hilarious too. She was like, I'm gonna just bag your stuff. I'm gonna just bag your stuff.
Right. Yeah, you can go. I don't want to get involved in whatever you're into. But no, I just love it that, like, Sally's still this mother figure, and she, she continues to, like, pop up and, like, give some words of wisdom or just reassurance. And I think it's a reminder, like, yes, these are kids. Like, even though the cast is growing, like, at the end of the day, we have to be reminded these are kids, like, on this grand adventure, and putting in themselves in harm's way. And like, you know what, your mom, your parents going to be there to support you and help you out when they can. And like, I just love that moment. And I'm so excited because the preview, we get to see like another parent come back, and whenever that parent comes, it's always good to see them. So I just love Sally Jackson so much, and I'm so glad they keep bringing her back.
My favorite part of this episode is I couldn't remember if it was Sally and Grover or Sally and Tyson. I think it was Sally and Tyson, where they look at Percy and they're just like, get in to the car, because I've been getting so mad at Percy for these last few episodes where he's just serving face all the time. He's just looking into the camera and it's like, bro, we are in a hurry. We got to go catch Luke. We got to go do this. We got to go save somebody. Like, run. It's the Stranger Things thing all over again. Stop walking, run. And so I was happy when Sally was like, get the fuck in the car, because that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Jam, anything else from this episode that you want to touch on before we get into Theory Corner for episode 8?
Yeah, the only thing that I was gonna say earlier about so I was telling Ryan and Brandon off pod that I had felt like this episode is my most balanced, with things that I think is the best of the series, like I mentioned with the action sequences, but then there was things that I didn't really like we mentioned with the pacing. One of the things that I really struggled with this episode was that anytime you have a scene that's in the dark and you can't see it, that bothers me so much. Not just with Percy Jackson. I'm speaking on anything. Obviously, we watch movies in a theater and it's dark, even though that's technically not good for our eyes. We're not supposed to be watching things in the dark. But for me to have to make things dark, like my room or I was watching this, I think, at work. So I was in the warehouse part on my phone, and I'm like, it's dark in the warehouse. And if I can't see this like right in front of me, I was struggling with that. So that was my one qualm, is it reminded me a lot of season 1, whereas like those foggy moments or like those dark moments that you can't really see the characters and stuff. And it was only I think it was only one scene. But it stood out to me. And I was like, wow, like this whole season has been, as we spoke about, phenomenal. So when that happened, it took me out of it. But then it got me right back in, because the next scene, it was like super bright. I think that was actually the scene with Dahlia, if I'm not mistaken. And the transition. But that was like really my only, like, again, qualm, but it did take me out of it. What I did want to highlight, though, is what Ryan said about Percy and Luke. Another thing I think about Luke so much that we get to see in this, not in this episode, but in this season a lot, is like Ryan said, he just wants to get Percy out of the way because it would bring him closer, or feel like he can keep that connection with Annabeth. But it also feels like that big brother moment too, because he genuinely, like, he says it multiple times. He's like, I like you, Percy, but like, I will do what I have to do. It almost feels like, man, I just wish you agreed with me so then Annabeth could agree with me, because if you agreed with me, and that's what it feels like. All of their little tussles, all of their little fights, it doesn't feel like, until he, stabs Percy this episode. But until then, it feels like he doesn't even really want to hurt Percy. He's just trying to like beat him in the head, like the little noogie, like, hey, like you said, the bully, like, come with me so we can stop this.
And the one time he actually stabs him is when he knows he's got the fleece.
But
So
that was
does he really want to hurt him?
Well, the way that episode ends.
Jam, give me your predictions for the finale. Obviously, if you want to kind of like allude away from book spoilers, feel free. But you can, feel free to, if your theory has something to do with the book spoiler, just give a general spoiler warning. So if people want to avoid it, they can just fast forward. But
I don't want to
dive
for
into
you guys.
that aspect as well, because I've seen a lot of people going like, I've seen a lot of internet freak out just based on the score for next episode, where there is a title of a song from the Bear McCreary score titled "What Really Happened."
It's really hard for me to theorize or speculate without getting into the book stuff, and especially I don't want to spoil it for you guys more specifically.
Ryan's read at least to the second book. So if you just like keep it to that within that frame, he's read the second book. I've seen the finale. So you don't have to worry about it for us. That's why I mean, just like spoiler warning for the general public, just in case they don't want to hear it.
So the big moment that again, spoiler warning, but the big moment I'm really trying to see what they're gonna do is with somebody that we have talked about a lot this episode, and that is our friend Clarisse. I really want to see what they're gonna do with. There's a big twist in the book, and we've kind of past that a little bit in where we're at in the season. It's a lot has changed. So my biggest theory is that going to be executed at all? Are we going to see it? What's going to happen with Clarisse? Similar to like what Ryan said, like, is she going to be in the rest of the series? That's really my biggest question mark when it comes to the finale. And then lastly, the split amongst our friends, as you guys have, as we've been told a lot, again, like from the seaweed brain, for our seaweed brain friends, the split amongst the group and how they're going to execute that. That's really all I could think about. That's not really like too much theorizing or spoilers, but it's kind of me putting in that mindset of what I know from the books and what the series has done differently, but still stayed true to the essence of the books. How are they going to showcase that? So that's really all I don't really have like any crazy theories, to be honest.
Ryan, any theories for the finale? And give me your take on the prophecy of it all. Is this going to be who's saving or burning down Olympus? Is it heck,
now that I know.
Is it Tyson? Is it Percy? Is it Thalia? Is it one of these Hades kids we're going to find out about in the future? Who's it going to be?
Man. Oh man. I like I was thinking about that. Like it would be interesting if it was Thalia because she has the most motivation to do that because of what Zeus did to her. It would be epic if it was Percy, and like there's a very legitimate reason, obviously, why he would do that. So, I mean, I would, and I feel like when they mean burn Olympus down, I feel like because again, this is just me who has not read past the second book. Like, there's a reason he has to burn Olympus down. Like, whoever is in charge of Olympus, like someone takes over, and like he has to destroy what Olympus is because of that. And so that would be great. But in terms of like the next episode, prediction wise, like similar to Jam, like it's like there's not really much to predict outside of like knowing what's in the book. But like what I would like to see, and we see it in the previous, like kind of this big out war. And one of my favorite war scenes from like adapted from a book is like the end of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That epic fight will never be like surpassed for me. So I want to see something like that. Obviously, it's a TV budget, so it's not going to be as grand. But even just the way this episode ended with like the Giants coming to the border and the Camp Haplet people gearing up, like I'm so ready for a big fight. And like season 1's finale with like Percy versus Ares was good, but it like you you can amp it up this season. So I'm very excited to see like all this epic fight between different monsters, different creatures, and like Camp Haplet people. We haven't seen Tantalus ever since like episode 2 or 3. So I'm curious to see like some of that, like him get involved, or even Dionysus. Like, I want to see like these other kids like defending their camp, and like we for a lot of it like we're never really get to stay at camp for so long. So I want to see like these people really fight for like this place, this sacred place to them. And so I'm really hoping for an epic fight. I'm because we saw in the preview that Poseidon comes back. I'm looking forward to whatever conversation he has with Percy, some words of wisdom. It's always so great to see Toby Stevens as Poseidon. So I'm very excited to see what moment they give him. And I'm just so excited for the finale. I hope it's a longer episode because this penultimate episode was so short. So they like spent the budget for that episode.
The stage is set. The pieces are in place for an epic finale next week. We will be back next Friday. Not sure the time yet, but next Friday we will be back breaking down the finale. And we'll have our friends at the Seaweed Brain podcast back joining us as well. We had to bring out the big guns, bring out the experts for the season finale. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on that show. If you haven't yet, check out our interviews with Dior Goodjohn and Daniel Deemer, Tyson and Clarisse, up on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. You can also follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Jam, where can the people find you on socials? Where can they find your pod, your writing, etc.?
You can find all of my good work over at Jam Sessions. Just replace the E with an X. My writing here at agentsoffandom.com, as well as thealternatetime.com. And my podcast is over at YouTube exclusively, and it is Journey Across Media. But with my good brother, Dennis from The Alternate Timeline, we have a special Marvel Mondays podcast coming every Monday. I will highly recommend subscribing to that YouTube channel podcast. And that is spoiler, not really spoiler. I would say announcement here. This is kind of like my first time or our first time announcing it, but dum
Our soft opening.
A soft opening. We are calling it the unofficial Avengers Doomsday podcast. So you can check that out over at YouTube. It's just unofficial Doomsday podcast. We have a very special event coming Monday, and it will be live. We haven't really figured out the times, but it will be every Monday evening Eastern time.
Oh yeah, make sure you check that out. Ryan, where can the people find you on socials? And I mean, plug anything you want to plug. Anything you want to talk about. The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much again for having me. One of my goals for this year was to get back to podcasting, and we're already checking that off January 16th. But I hope to be back like multiple times. I mean, this year's so packed with stuff. Like we got Paradise, One Piece season 2, Lanterns, like so many different movies and stuff. Like I am so ready to talk about all of that. I have not been on socials in a little bit, just mentally, but I will slowly get back into it when I'm ready. But you can find me Twitter and Letterboxd, Ryan_reflects. I probably in the lead up to Paradise, I will probably get back to writing at Collider. So stay tuned for that. Like I enjoy talking about Paradise so much. I'm so excited for that show to come back.
Need you on my pod to talk about that
right now. We might have this might be the trio hosting a Paradise pod.
Yes, let's do it. I'm so down. I'm so down to theorize everything about that show. Coming up, I'm going to be seeing an early screening of Send Help, the new Sam Raimi movie starring Rachel McAdams. Bro, I'm so excited for that. It looks kooky, it looks fun. It's so Sam Raimi, so I'm so excited to see that film and Rachel McAdams in like a more comedic role. It's been a while, so and I love Dylan O'Brien, so good. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That review will be coming the following Monday, so not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. But yeah, I'm so excited to see that film. And yeah, no, I'm gonna get back to writing soon enough, so stay tuned on agentsoffandom.com.
We do have some fun new articles up on agentsoffandom.com you should check out as well. Just dropped a couple minutes ago, maybe an hour ago. Our guy from Metalcore Nerd, Sean Mott, ranked his top 10 most anticipated movies of 2026. Screen sharing it here. Look at that beautiful feature that our guy Ruben Rapaldo whipped up for this article.
Awesome.
I love this picture so much. Got the Odyssey, Project Hail Mary, Spidey, and some Doomsday in there. Jam's article from recapping all the best anime of 2025. Sean also broke down his top 10 most anticipated TV shows of 2026. So check that out. And we got a lot more fun stuff coming as well. I'll have reviews dropping soon for Shrinking, as well as Wonder Man up in the near future over this next little bit. We'll be breaking down the Percy Jackson finale, like we said, with our friends over from the Seaweed Brain podcast next week. So stay tuned for that. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in this week. On behalf of myself, Jam, and Ryan, we will see you next time. Peace.